All right, all right. Give me a couple more minutes. Still doing my diligence. Bear with me one sec. All right. Shalom, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah Barakatha to all my brothers, Yahweh Shemar Ilathah Hashem, Yahweh Shah to all my sisters. This is the ISUPK under 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General Yohana. And what we do is we teach the Black, Hispanic, and Native people that they are God's true and only chosen people. And with being such comes with a responsibility. This responsibility is to not only follow the law, but to teach it. This responsibility is what guides our community, what strengthens our community, and what builds our community. Unfortunately, not everybody knows this. Unfortunately, people like Martin Luther King ignored these simple rules that can help build our community. See, Martin Luther King had a dream of integration. Martin Luther King had a dream of the human race. Martin Luther King had a dream of everybody loving each other. But what Martin Luther King don't understand is that is not God's will. That is not God's plan. That is not God's purpose. That's not even in the Bible. What God's will and God's plan is for Black, Hispanic, and Native people, his chosen people, to love each other, which is done only through the law, statutes, and commandments, which is displayed through the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And we're going to get into it today. We're going to get into it. You know what I'm saying? But if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to type them in. You have any questions, type them on in. Well, I prepared this first scripture for y'all. Any questions, type them on in. Okay, since there's no questions, I got a question for y'all. What was Martin Luther King to you? What was Martin Luther King to you? Let me tell you something. Martin Luther King to me was a false prophet. He was a danger and a hindrance unto the Black, Hispanic, and Native community. Martin Luther King was a poison to us. And what he has done is a service that is hard to reverse. He enforced us to depend on a nation that has no love for us, to beg for the help of a nation that has no plans on helping us. And that is a real hindrance. That is a real problem. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to get into it. I typed up the first scripture. We're going to get into it. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to get there, but we're going to Matthew 17 and 15. All right. And we're going to get with it. Beware of false prophets, which cometh to you in sheep's clothing. Beware of false prophets, which cometh to you in sheep's clothing. What's coming to you in sheep's clothing? Coming to you in sheep's clothing is coming to you in something that is familiar to you. It's coming to you in a way that you are comfortable with. You know what I'm saying? Something that you find, you know what I'm saying, safe. It's familiar. It's coming into you as if they are one of your own. A wolf is sheep's clothing. A wolf is not a sheep. But he puts on the sheep's clothing so he could blend in with the sheep as he devours them. And that's what Martin Luther King was. He was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He marched, he organized marches, had the sheep all around him. He empathized with the sheep, but that was not his plan. He pretended like he was about the struggle of the Black Hispanic community, which struggle at that time was about the brutality of the hatred that our enemies had towards us. It was about the brutality. Yes, a few was upset that they could not go into white establishments. A few was upset about that. But the majority wasn't, because the majority of us did not travel to the point that we had to go into our enemies' establishments. So we were comfortable with our own establishments. We had our own businesses, our own restrooms, our own this, our own that. And with that being said, that is literally the Lord's will, was us to have our own, us to be separated from everybody else, us not being like everybody else. That is literally the Lord's will. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue with it. But inwardly, they are ravening wolves. Inwardly, Martin Luther King was a ravening wolf, because his goal wasn't to relieve the pain and the struggles of the Black and Hispanic and indigenous communities. That wasn't his objective. His objective was that he could walk freely, displaying his love for Caucasian women. And in 5 more years, y'all going to see what I'm saying is true. Because Martin Luther King had an unquenchable thirst for these heathen women. He had an unquenchable thirst for women that have been a poison and a thorn in the sides of the Black and Hispanic community. He had a thirst for them. His first girlfriend was a Caucasian woman. Before Coretta, there was a Caucasian woman in his life. And he could not go into white establishments with her. He could not take her on a date in a white establishment. He could have took her on a date in a Black establishment, but guess what? She must not wanted to go in a Black establishment, just like most white people didn't want to do back then, and they don't want to do now. And that was the failure of integration. Integration had us joining them. It did not have them joining us. It did not have them following our culture. It did not have them following our rules, our way of life. No, it had us following theirs. It had us going into restaurants with unseasoned chicken when they could have came into a restaurant with seasoned chicken. You see? It took our resources and it handed our resources over to our enemy. That's what the integration has done for the Black, Hispanic, and Native community. But let's continue. Verse 16. Ye shall know them by their fruits. What is Martin Luther King's fruits? He marched on Washington. Yippee doo. Yippee ki yay. That means nothing. The March on Washington means nothing, because what was the result of that? Everything that we were just talking about. Oh, it gave us the right to vote. Guess what? We had the right to vote before then. The right to vote was established in the 19th century. What happened in the 60s was a protection that we can't be discriminated against. We had the right to vote already. What happened in the 60s, that Voters Act was an act that we can vote safely with no discrimination. And wow, isn't there a fight to this day about suppressing voters' rights? Isn't there a fight to this day about that? So that did nothing. And besides that, should we as Black people even be voting? Should we be voting for anybody? See, that's us joining their culture. The Most High picks our leaders. Our leaders stand up amongst our people, and it's obvious who the leader would be. But us voting is putting our enemies above us. And every vote is literally a cry for help. Every vote is literally a cry for help from our enemies. I'm going to vote for this person because we have hopes. And we want them to do this for our community and do that for our community. But guess what? They never do anything for our community. So that didn't work. That did not work at all. You know what I'm saying? But let's go to Deuteronomy 7:6. Let me show you how Martin Luther King's will was not the Most High's plan. How his civil rights movement went against the Most High. Go to Deuteronomy 7:6. Give y'all a couple of seconds to get there. You see, that's what we don't understand as a people. We don't understand the Most High's will. There's only one place where we can learn to understand that. And that one place is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Yes, Israelite school. Not an Israelite camp, not an Israelite church, not an Israelite synagogue. No. Israelite school, because we teach the law, statutes, and commandments. We teach the Lord's will. And his will is plain and clear for his people right in this verse. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully y'all are there. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people. For thou art an holy people. What does the word holy mean? What does the word holy mean? Let's look that up. Give me a second to look it up. Wow, there are no online biblical Bibles. Well, I should get the Zondervan. It's right over there. But in the Zondervan Bible Pictorial Dictionary, the word holy just means set apart, separate, special, not like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? That's what the word holy means. It doesn't mean anything special, divine, or, you know what I'm saying, exalted or whatever. It means literally separate. Well, exalted might fit though, because you're held on a higher plateau than everybody else down there. But that's what it means. It doesn't mean divine. Divine is more of a modern definition for the word holy. The word holy literally just means separate, set apart. That's all it means, set apart. You know what I'm saying? For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy power. The Most High considered us to be a holy people. The Most High considered Black, Hispanic, and Natives to be a separate people. That's the Most High's will. He wanted us to be separate, separated, segregated. What is MLK doing with his dream of little white girls and little black boys? What was that about? He was that little black boy with a little white girl. That was his dream. His dream was that. That was his plan. That was not the Most High's plan. The Most High's plan was for us to separate. You know what I'm saying? That was the Most High's plan. What Martin Luther King wanted was Salaki, as I turn down my notifications, was to fulfill his own lust. That's what Martin Luther King wanted. Martin Luther King wanted to fulfill his own lust, his own desires. And that's the man that we're going to be celebrating for the next month and some change. A man who literally went against God for our own destruction. You know what I'm saying? That's what MLK was. But let's get with it. The Most High, thy power, have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself. The Most High has chosen us to be a special people. We're not special if we're blended in and treated in around all the other things. Like, you don't put your special stuff in with the common stuff. You put your special stuff on display. You know what I'm saying? Your mama had a cabinet with her special dishes. That china cabinet that held those special dishes that only got taken out for special occasions. We are those china dishes to the Most High. We are special. We are set apart. We are not paper plates. Everybody else on this planet is paper plates. Everybody else on this planet is Dixie cups. Nah. Most High made us special unto himself. You know what I'm saying? And we cannot be special unto him acting like those paper plates. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Wow. We are separate, special, and above all people that are upon the face of the earth. That sounds like the Most High has made his choice on who he desires, on who he sides with. We are above all other people on this face of this earth. So what does this talk about equality? What does this talk about? You're fighting and begging for people to give you equality when the Most High gave you superiority. The Most High gave Black, Hispanic, and Native people superiority. But we don't want it because we want to be equal. We want to be just like them. We want to do what they do. We want to wild out like they wild out. We don't want this special force that we got behind us. We don't want it. So we go cling on to an enemy that does not want to give us any type of relief or break or peace. Don't want to give us none of that. You know what I'm saying? And that's the type of man Martin Luther King was. He was the type of man that would, how may I put it, enforce our enemy's foot, like put it like this. Our enemy's foot was on our neck and Martin Luther King was on his knee. He added a little extra weight to that. Because integration did nothing for black people. All Martin Luther King wanted to do was have his little black boys and little white girls holding hands, which is actually against the laws of God. We could just go up a few verses and see that. Let's go up a few verses. Let's start with 7 and 2. Start with Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 2. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 2. And when the Most High, your power, shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them. We was on a campaign to claiming our land. We was on a campaign of taking over the land that was occupied that the Most High gave to us. And henceforth in doing so, we had to kick some people out so we could take it, right? So we had to smite them. We had to kill people because they wasn't giving up that land easily, which is something that you got to understand. That is the fruits of war. Like, us as Black, Hispanic, and Natives need to understand that we right now are on the losing side of a war. We right now are losing a war with no help from people like Martin Luther King, with no help from your Christian pastor, no help from your Muslim ministers and imams, none. We are losing this war. And all our so-called leaders are helping us lose this war. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. And utterly destroy them. We are supposed to utterly destroy our enemies. We are supposed to utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them. We should not be making no covenant with them. We should not be begging for all types of rights, having all types of amendments. You know what I'm saying? It's war. We are at war. We should not be begging our enemies for anything, making no type of covenants. You know what's a covenant? A marriage is a covenant. Back in the day when two enemies had a marriage between them, that was a treaty of peace. That was a treaty of peace from both sides. So that they could become one family. But guess what? The Most High don't want us becoming one family with any other nation. Because we are a separate, set apart, holy, special people above all other people. So how do we look marrying them? They are beneath us. Martin Luther King wanted to marry them. Martin Luther King wanted to rebel against the Most High's words. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. He didn't like the system saying that he can't have a white woman and he can't take her out to white restaurants and he can't take her out to white movie theaters. He has to be in secret with his shame. He didn't want to be in secret with such a shame. He wanted to be shameless. He wanted to be out in the open about it. So most I dealt with him. But that's a different subject. But let's continue. Nor show mercy unto them. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. We are not supposed to be making marriages with them. Interracial relationships is a sin. The Lord said we are not supposed to be making marriages with them. So what is this dream about a little white girl and a little black boy? What's that about? Let me tell you about a little black boy named Emmett Till and a little white girl named Carolyn Bryan Dunner. What happened with them? What happened with that dream? Let me tell you something. When a little white girl cries, or when any white girl cries, guess what? A black man dies. A black man dies. And her tears are felt by her people. That's why that woman that killed John Botham, the woman that killed John Botham, she cries in the courtroom. And a white woman's tears are so felt that a black woman, a black bailiff, would stroke her hair to calm her down. Comb her hair to make sure she's nice and right for cameras. A black judge would come down from their wherever they call it, where judges sit. Come down from where a judge sits to hug this convicted killer, to hug this convicted murderer. Pray over this convicted murderer. Man, I tell you, that prayer was not heard. Pray over this convicted murderer and give this convicted murderer her Bible. Give this convicted murderer the male of black, Hispanic, and Native. That was given unto us, not everybody else. And that's what that judge did. And look what's happening. This woman is trying to appeal and overturn her light sentence for killing an innocent black man in his home. She is trying to overturn that light sentence right now. Appealing it. So the mercy and love that she got from those two black women meant nothing to her. Because she can't sit back and take those light lashings that they have distributed to her. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's continue. Thy daughters thou shalt not give unto his sons. We should not be giving our daughters to his sons, man. We should not be giving our daughters to his sons. Oh, man, my nose is stuck. His daughters do not deserve. Our daughters do not deserve to be what they call it, ghetto gaggers. That's what's going to happen when you give your daughters and allow your daughters to marry oppressors, to marry colonizers, to marry the devil that the Bible speaks of. That's what happens. And with that being said, you know what I'm saying? Let's continue. nor his daughters shall thou take unto thy son. Why won't we take their daughters unto our sons? So they could call rape on our sons? Have our sons strung out on all types of drugs? Why would we want their daughters to be with our sons? Why? Martin Luther King's dream was a poison. It was a dream fueled by his own lusts and his own desires. That's why he was having orgies in the hotels with white women. He was having all types of orgies with white women. Those tapes are coming out. He was having orgies. He cheated on his wife. I only say cheated because a man can have more than one woman, but I only say cheated because he lied and did it cowardly. A man can have more than one wife, but what he can't have is a woman that's not of his nation. Leave them. They don't belong to us. Leave them for their people. An Asian woman belongs to an Asian man. A white woman belongs to a white man. Arab woman belongs to an Arab man. They don't belong to us. We have Black, Hispanic, and Native women, and they belong to us. We are one family. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. That's that right there. But let's go to Proverbs 11 and 21. Give y'all a couple seconds to get there. Proverbs chapter 11, verse 21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished. Check it out. Martin Luther King was for little black boys and little white girls to be holding hands. But guess what? That little white girl got something coming for her. The Most High got plans for her. He got plans for that little white girl. She has to accept all that the Most High is willing to give her. Now you, little black boys holding hands with them little white girls, guess what? You about to receive the same thing. The wicked shall not be unpunished. The wicked shall not be unpunished. When the Most High is letting those bombs explode on them while you holding their hands, guess what? You're going to have to catch that heat too. You're going to have to catch that heat also with them. So take this as a warning. Don't hand join in hand. Stop holding hands. Stop holding their hands. Stop depending on them. Stop loving them. I understand how you feel like some of them are good. Not all white people. Well, guess what? Not all snakes are poisonous. Are you willing to test out if a snake is poisonous or not? Are you willing to play with the snake to figure out if it's poisonous or not? Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished, man. Let's continue. But the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. Guess what? It's not a righteous thing to be in an interracial relationship. That's wicked. The righteous shall be delivered. You shall be delivered when the time comes. You should be safe when the time comes. What am I saying? What I'm saying is there's danger being amongst them. There's unsurety being amongst them. There's calamity being amongst them. You know what I'm saying? For example, during that insurrection they had on January 6th of 2021, right? Over a year ago, there was a couple of black people sprinkled amongst them. A couple. And guess what? Those couple of black people, they are feeling the brunt of America's justice system. They are feeling the brunt of it. Some of them may still be in jail today. But that insurrection, that what America calls traitors, guess what? A lot of white people are in court. They are out walking about. A lot of these white people that was involved in it are out running for public offices and everything. They are out and about while you take the fall, while you carry the brunt of that weight. That's why we should separate. See, Most High wanted separation because our enemy does not have the best will for us. He don't see us as humans. He don't see us as fellow man, as so many of y'all wish he could. He don't see that. He sees stepping stools. Remember, you're talking about the people that believe in what they call it, divine manifestation or something. They believe everything is rightfully theirs. But truthfully, everything is rightfully ours. And we need to pick up that mind frame. You know what I'm saying? But let's bring that back from the top. Though hand joint in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. Those black men that was in that, they were not delivered. They were given into the hands of the enemy. They caught the full wrath of that. They weren't delivered because they didn't understand to separate from our enemies. While us Black, Hispanics, and natives in the ISUPK was sitting back with some popcorn, a cold brew, you know what I'm saying, watching this insurrection on the news, just enjoying the chaos that this country is going through, which they deserve to go through. They deserve it. But let's continue. Oh no, that's it for that. Let's go to First Esdras. No, let's go to Deuteronomy 23 and 6. Go to Deuteronomy 23 and 6. Give y'all a couple seconds to get there. Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 6. Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity all the days forever. That is a problem that we have that Martin Luther King struck a fire under. Everything about the civil rights movement was seeking our enemy's peace, as if they don't understand what a war is about. A war is not about peace. A war is to obtain peace later. That's the reward of war. But the war isn't about peace. It's a reward of it. We should not be seeking their peace. How was Martin Luther King seeking their peace? Martin Luther King was nonviolent. He believed that being nonviolent will earn their respect. As they punch you in the face, he expects them to respect him after that. He expects peace would happen after that. Like, hey, no, we're talking about a monstrous beast who is not happy with anything less than our blood being spilled. And Martin Luther King fully was begging them for peace. I understand fighting for peace, fighting for justice. But that wasn't what Martin Luther King was doing. He was begging for peace. Marching on the streets was to stop some cross burnings, stop the lynchings, which is still going on to this day. So that fight was for nothing. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. Thou shalt not seek their peace, nor their prosperity. That's another thing. All this marching and stuff is for our biggest problem in the black community is trying to be like them, trying to gain their riches, trying to have what they got. That's what it was about. We wanted what they had. Oh, look at their bathroom. Their bathrooms are so clean. Well, clean the black bathroom then. Go clean it. You know what I'm saying? They were just worried about the wrong things. We wanted to be in their restaurants, have restaurants just like them. Everything we do is to be just like them. We seeking their prosperity, seeking their peace. When the Most High is telling us not to seek their peace. And if you don't believe me, it says it again. It repeats it. Let's go to 1 Esdras 8 and 85. Bear with me real quick. Now, 1 Esdras, not all of y'all may not have it, but the 1 Esdras is in the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha was a collection of books. The word Apocrypha literally means hidden. Apocrypha was a bunch of books taken out from the Bible by the Roman Catholic Church. It's a period of time of Greek captivity. It's about the time when the Greeks were ruling the world, which is not in the traditional scriptures that we use today. The abridged King James Version. The unabridged would have the Apocrypha in it. But let's get with it. And if you don't have it, look it up. Look it up on it's not a hidden secret. You can look it up online. I typed it in the what's the name in the chat. If you don't have the Apocrypha, you can always look it up. They're pretty cheap out there too. They're not the most expensive books in the world. You probably could find them for $5-10. You know what I'm saying? There's online free apps with the Apocrypha in it. You know what I'm saying? But 1 Esdras, chapter 8, verse 85. And it reads, moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them. This scripture is telling you we should never seek to have peace with our enemies. That is something that we should not be looking for from an enemy. You think our enemies are looking for peace? They have proven to us year after year after year after year for over 500 years, they do not seek peace with the Black, Hispanic, and Native people. They have been proving that, but you want to march, you want to beg, you want to hold up signs, we shall overcome, and sing and dance to beg them for their peace. When the scripture is clear, we should not seek their peace. Let's continue. Matter of fact, let me reiterate on something. Let's start at 84. Let's start at 84. First Esdras 8 and 84. Therefore now shall ye not join your daughters unto their sons. We was reading that in Deuteronomy too. Their daughters should not be joining unto our sons. Let's continue. Neither shall ye take their daughters unto your sons. There should be no interracial relationships, no interracial marriage. It is a sin. It is against the laws of God. So his dream is a failure. His dream was destined to fail because it was against the laws of God. Let's continue. Moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them, that ye may be strong. That's the only way we're going to be strong. Nobody respects a punching bag. The whole goal of a punching bag is to see if you can split it open. Nobody respects a punching bag. But us Black, Hispanics, and Natives, we are punching bags to our enemies. Now, why? Because we keep on begging for their peace. We're not fighting back. We're not throwing hands. We're just taking it and begging for peace. Stop killing us. Stop murdering us. No. I understand a lot of y'all wondering, hey, we can't do that, then what's the solution? Let me tell you what the solution is. It's very simple. Separate. Be holy. Set apart. Special. And be above all nations or so on the face of this earth. That's the only way we can get out of this situation. We can't get out of this situation begging them for help. We can't. Let's continue. And eat the good things of the land, and that ye may leave an inheritance of the land unto your children forevermore. Look, MLK gave away any inheritance that we possibly would have had. All those businesses and homes that we used to have before integration. Yes, we had our own homes. We had our own businesses. We had our own manufacturers. We had everything. We didn't have to depend on them for nothing. We depended on each other, which is what we're supposed to do. That's what we're supposed to do, is depend on each other. But through MLK and his drive to want to be loved by an enemy, it set us back. It put us back in chains mentally. We were getting it. We were getting it. You know what I'm saying? Tulsa, Oklahoma wasn't the only Black community that was getting it. We had Seneca Village. We had Rosewood. We had so much more. Harlem. We had so many more places. Black owned. We had Bunker Hill. Yes, Bunker Hill was a Black neighborhood. That was the Black part of Boston back in the day. And now we in places like Codman Square, which is named after a slave master. A lot of these places in Massachusetts is named after slave owners. And we out here repping them like that like, like we own something. That doesn't mean nothing to nobody. You know what I'm saying? But our inheritance was given away because somebody had a little dream to appease his enemies. He left God's will and chose their will. He left God's laws and chose their laws. You know what I'm saying? Let's go into that. Let's drop down a few verses. Let's go to verse 87. Drop down to verse 87. First Esdras 8 and 87. Let me type that in here. First Esdras chapter 8, verse 87. And this give unto us such a root. We had a root. We had something that we had a foundation that planted us firmly. And that foundation was the Most High's law, statutes, commandments. We did have a root. Right now, our root is whatever our oppressors give us. That's why we are in nothing but chaos as a Black, Hispanic, and Native community. But let me continue. But we have turned back again to transgress the law. We have turned away from that root. We have turned away from the law, statutes, commandments. We have turned our back on it so that we can have love from our enemies. That's what we did. We chose love from our enemies, which we never gotten, instead of the Most High laws. Well, here's a solution. How about we choose the law over his love? Forget his love. His love means nothing. How about we choose the law, statutes, commandments over his love? Let's continue. And to mingle ourselves with the uncleanness of the nations of the land. That's what we did. That's what we did. We forsook the law, statutes, commandments so we could be amongst them, so we could be like them, so we could mingle with them. What's another word for mingle? Integrate. So we can integrate with them, mingle ourselves with people who hate us, which is proven year upon year. Who knows the next Black man is about to get shot? Quite a few happened this year already. News ain't covering it that much. Know why? Know why the news ain't covering it like that? Not an election year. Know why Black Lives Matter ain't marching about it? It's not an election year. That's why. That's why. Any more on that? Nope, that's that. Let's look. We gave up our laws, statutes, commandments. We stopped depending on our power so we could depend on a people that don't even care to help us. You know what I'm saying? That's what we have did. We gave up our strength so we could be carried by people who will enjoy seeing us fall. These people would enjoy seeing our fall. But let's go to Lamentations. Four and 17. Give y'all a couple seconds to get there. All right, Lamentations, chapter 4, verse 17. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. As for us, our eyes has failed for our vain help. We are looking for help, and we are not getting the help that we expect. We are begging them to stop shooting us. We are begging them to feed us. We are begging them to house us. And what do we get? We get fake food, pork, crab, shrimp, lobster. We get all the nasty stuff that is against the Lord. We beg for housing. We get projects that put thousands of us in a small area, as if that temperature ain't gonna boil over, as if that pot just ain't gonna spill over. You know what I'm saying? We beg them for employment when if we had our black businesses, we'd be employing each other. But we gave away our businesses for their peace. We gave away black businesses for their peace. Our eyes are searching for help. And let me tell you where we get that help. We've been begging our enemies for help for so long. Let me tell you where we get it right. We get it right here in the ISUPK. We get it right in the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. That's the only way we can get it right. Because we can't get it right without the Most High's laws. As you hear us begging them for help, it's actually against God's laws. Us begging them to love us is against God's laws. When we're going to learn to stop begging, we're going to learn to stand on our own and stand on what we was built upon. Stand upon these law, statutes, and commandments. Stand upon our culture that they work so diligently to keep away from us. When we going to stand on that? Let's continue. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. We have watched for a nation that could not save us. It's not even in their power to save us. Only one person can save us, and that's the Most High. Because us loving them and wanting their peace and all that, we're not offending nobody but God. Because He is who we should be begging for help. He is the one we should be asking for help. Nobody else. They are not God. I know we look up to them as if they are God. We look up to their celebrities. We look up to their politicians. We look up to their leaders as if they are God. We even look up to their ancestors as if they are gods. You got a Caesar Borgia somewhere in your mama's house right now. You know what I'm saying? But let's continue. Let me tell you why they are not willing to help us. Next, verse 18. They hunt our steps. They are literally hunting us. They understand it's a war. They hunt our steps. They are stalking us. What's that brother that got killed while he was running away, unarmed, caught a girlie, I think it was? Unarmed, shot in the park, bang. Unarmed, dead. They are hunting our steps. Tamir Rice, a little kid, playing in a playground with a toy gun like any other little kid would do. like any other kid would do. It's a shame that we got to teach our kids that you can't play with a toy gun. While their kids get to play with toy guns, hell, their kids play with real guns. That's why they're shooting up schools. But our kids can't play cop and robbers. Our kids can't play cowboys and Indians. Our kids can't do none of that. You know why? Because they hunt our steps. They are literally hunting our steps. And we're marching and begging for their peace. That's what we're doing. Let's continue. That we cannot go in our streets. Tamir Rice cannot go in his streets, man. Barton John cannot go in the streets. Philandro Castile cannot go in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Mike Brown cannot go in the streets because they are hunting us. And nobody's a better hunter than them. They are gifted with the skill of hunting. They're the only people I know that will drench themselves in animal urine so their natural scent cannot be detected. They are hunters naturally. And we're begging them for peace. Let's finish it. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled, for our end is come. We keep on going in the route that we're going. It's not going to get better. It's not going to get better. I'm giving y'all the solution. MLK didn't have the solution. Integration was blatantly not the solution. It has done nothing for us to this day. We are fighting for the same things we were fighting for back then. Integration has done nothing. Civil rights have done nothing. So we are here to tell you the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge has that answer. And that answer is segregation. That answer is separation. That answer is us depending on each other and not our enemies. Yeah, it's a hard road, yeah. It's a hard road. But it's a road that got to be traveled. It's a road that got to be traveled. Well, let's drop that. Let's get Ecclesiasticus 12, 10 through 18. This is in the Apocrypha too. So you might have to Google it if you don't have an Apocrypha at your house. I suggest everybody get an Apocrypha. If you don't have an Apocrypha, get with you. And you don't know how to get and obtain an Apocrypha, get with a camp leader near you. Get with somebody in the ISUPK near you. All right? Because we got plenty. We got plenty of Apocryphas. But let's get with it. Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12, verse, what did I say, 10? Never trust thine enemies. I don't think I have to explain more. Never trust thine enemies. What was Martin Luther King doing? He trusted our enemies. He trusted our enemies that they actually would stand by the words of civil rights. He trusted our enemies that they would actually help us. He trusted our enemies that they will actually integrate with us and we with them. No. Martin Luther King didn't understand this. He probably never read it because it was taken out of the Bible thanks to the Roman Catholic Church. But never trust your enemies. Never. Never trust your enemies. It's not a wise thing to do. And this person this little white girl, he dreams of being with little black boys. Those little white girls are the little black boys' enemies. Never trust your enemy. For like as iron rusted, so is his wickedness. Iron for sure is going to rust. Iron for sure rusts. It's guaranteed. It is guaranteed. It's not even a maybe. Iron will rust. Though he humbled himself and go crouching, though he humbled himself and gave you the little voter right of that, he humbled himself and gave you the little housing, equal housing opportunity, equal employment opportunity, even low income housing, even though he humbled himself. He humbled himself. He crouched down low. He had you thinking that, hey, he's one of us. He's an ally. Yes, he's an ally. He had you believe in that. But let's continue. Yet take good heed and beware of him. Take good heed. Beware of him. Look at him. Don't trust him. Study his moves. Try to predict what he's going to do next. And stay away from him. Beware of him. He is dangerous. Our enemy is dangerous. A lot of people won't admit that. But our enemy is blatantly dangerous. That's why he's hunting our steps. We are just sheep. Sheep. And he is just devouring us. Well, let's continue. And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass. We should be unto him as if we wiped a looking glass, man. We are wiping the looking glass, cleaning the mirror. It was grimy. Couldn't see things clearly in that mirror. You know, it was a little foggy. We wiped it away. It's now clean. We should be able to see things clearly now. And just like that, we will see clearly who our enemy is. You know what I'm saying? Donald Trump was showing you that. Donald Trump was showing you that. Everybody understood Donald Trump was not for black people. But yet, we still trust them as a race. You think Biden's any better? You should see clearly that Biden's not for us. Biden has a very clear history of hating us. But you want to vote for him. You want to vote for anybody. Guess what? Everybody do not have Black, Hispanic, and Native interests in mind. Because if they did, you wouldn't have to vote for them. They will stand up as a clear leader and separate you from them, like Commander General Yohana does. But let's continue. And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. You should see his wickedness. You clean that looking glass, you clean that mirror, everything should come clearly to you. You should see his wickedness in 4K. His wickedness should be as clear as day. The man should not be trusted. You should see it by now. Let's continue. Set him not by thee, lest when he have overthrown thee. Man, don't be sitting next to him, because he will overthrow you. He will take your place. See, a black man will work a job for years, and at the end of it, he will end up training the person that will be his manager or his replacement. And that's what's happening. Let's look at it on a smaller level. Don't have him sit next to you. Dr. Dre had Eminem sitting next to him. Now look at Eminem. He took every black man's space as the best rapper. Now Eminem's the rap god. Don't send him near you. Don't have him anywhere near us. Because he will seek to take over. He will seek to take over. You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. And thou, at the last, remember my words and be pricked by them. Hold on. He stand up in thy place. Hold on. Let me read that from the top. Verse 12. Set him not by thee, lest he hath overthrown thee. He stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat. And thou at the last remember my words and be pricked by therewith. Remember these words. Remember these words, that he is not to be trusted. Let it keep on pricking at you. Let it keep on annoying you. Let it keep on ringing in your head. Can't trust him, can't trust him, can't trust him. That is your safety. That is your safety right there. Let it prick at you. Let's continue. Verse 13. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent? Who's going to pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent? Martin Luther King loved white people. He loved his fellow man. And that snake bit him. And look at him now. He dead. That snake bit him. Should we pity MLK? Nah. I'm pretty sure MLK came across a couple of Negroes that told him not to do what he do, and he considered them sellouts, coons, whatever. He didn't take the wisdom of his people. And now look at him. Who will pity a snake charmer? Stop charming these snakes. Yes, they are snakes. They are viperous beasts that have no goodwill towards us. None. Or any such as come nigh wild beasts. Nigh is another word for near. Do you feel bad for Stephen Irwin when he came across that what was that animal that killed him? That little flat thing with the tail. Did we feel bad? No, we was actually rooting for Stephen Irwin to die. Because he was annoying the hell out of those animals. Well, guess what? We are Stephen Irwin, and Caucasians, our oppressor is a wild beast. Who's dumb enough to play with a wild bear? Who's dumb enough to play with a wild lion? Who's dumb enough to play with a wild tiger? Who's dumb enough to play with these wild animals that is guaranteed to kill us? Let me tell you who. Martin Luther King, he played with them. And look at him. Do you have pity for him? Let's continue. So one that goeth to a sinner and is defiled with him in his sins, who will pity. Us going near wild beasts is similar to us going near crackheads and end up being crackheads. Is end up going in near sexual deviance and catching AIDS. It's similar to us, you know what I'm saying, indulging in gang violence and getting shot. Should you pity those people? Who should you pity? Who? I'm pretty sure they all been warned. Pretty sure they all knew the outcome of their lifestyle. You cannot pity a snake charmer. Martin Luther King was a snake charmer, was the charmer of all snakes. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. For a while he will abide with thee, but if thou begin to fall, he will not tarry. He will be with you, but as soon as you start to fall, you have your allies. Ooh, your allies. You love your allies. We have white allies. As soon as you begin to fall, they are nowhere to be found. They are the ones throwing bricks into these stores that you start looting. And when you get caught, where are they at? Where they at? They are nowhere to be found. That's the type of person you are dealing with. These are the type of people you are dealing with. They'll shrug their shoulders. Oh, man. Well, we gave you low-income housing. What more do you want, man? As soon as you start to fall, they wipe their hands of you. That's who they are. Let's continue. An enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. White people love talking about equality. They believe freedom. They believe, they speak sweetly with their lips. But let me tell you something. In his heart, he imagines to overthrow thee into a pit. Equality isn't real. When you hear a white person talking about equality, that means he wants you subservient under him. Nobody will give up their ruling power to be equal to the subservience underneath him. Only a fool would do it. And equality isn't real because somebody has to be superior. Somebody has to rule. Somebody has to lead. Somebody has to be on top. Somebody has to be on bottom. Not two things on this planet is equal. Not two things. No. So, if nothing on this planet is equal, then what are we fighting for? Who fights to tie? Who fights to tie? That sounds like a losing battle. Your highest goal is to tie, not win, but to tie. Our enemy is playing to win. He hunts our steps to win. You know what I'm saying? He will not tarry when we fall because he wants to win. He puts his people first because he wants to win. When you going to want to win? Where's your drive to win? You know what I'm saying? Let's continue. Let's continue. He will weep with his eyes. We see those white girls crying all the way in all these court cases and everything. He will weep with his eyes. You seen that? You seen what's homeboy's name? Kyle Rittenhouse, right? You seen Kyle Rittenhouse. He wept with his eyes, right? But if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. Kyle Rittenhouse wasn't satisfied. And he killed his own people. You think he would hesitate to kill you? You think he won't hesitate to kill you? Kyle Rittenhouse literally killed his own people. He will kill you with all the pleasure in his heart. Easily. You know what I'm saying? That white woman, I can't remember her name. That's good because her name ain't worthy of remembrance. That killed Botham. She wept in court. She got what she wanted, but she wasn't weeping for Botham. She wasn't weeping for losing Botham. She was weeping for going to jail as a cop. That's what she was weeping about. Let's continue. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. Every time adversity comes against black people, who is there? Who is the cause of our adversity? Who is the cause of all of our problems? Who is there? Let me tell you, it is our enemy. It is the oppressor. It is the Caucasian race. It is the man that is poisoning the world. Well, let's continue. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. Everything Martin Luther King stood and fought for is undermined to this day. That's why we still fighting for it to this day. We're still fighting for voters' rights. We're still fighting for integration. We're still fighting for all types of things. You know what I'm saying? That we were fighting for back then. You know why? Because it was undermined back then. Everything that civil rights brought forth wasn't for black people. It was for everybody. Everybody benefited from it. Everybody benefited from our struggle but us. Who gets those equal opportunity employment? Asians, so-called Jewish man. It sure ain't you. As soon as they see your name on an application, they throwing it out. As soon as they see a Raekwon or a Tynesha, your application's in the trash. You know what I'm saying? Verse 18, he will shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance because he is happy with what he's done. He is well pleased with what he has done. But let me end it with this. I want to end this class. Now I might be able to squeeze 2 in. I might be able to squeeze 2 in. Let me get this verse. We still in the Apocrypha. All right, I typed it up. Give y'all a couple seconds to get there. Ecclesiasticus chapter 40, verse 28. My son, lead not a beggar's life. This is wise advice right here. Don't be a beggar. And that's what the civil rights movement was doing, was making Black, Hispanic, and Native people beggars. Begging for peace, begging for justice, begging. Let me tell you something. It doesn't look good, especially when the results is in our face every day. Whatever we beg for is either going to turn into a poison against us, or we just not going to get it. That has been the result of it since the beginning of time. Stop begging. Martin Luther King was begging for interracial relationships, and look at what happened to Bob. A white woman was in his house, drunk, snuck in his house and killed a little Black boy, and cried in court for a lenient sentence. For better it is to die than to beg. It is better to die than to beg. It's better to have some sense of dignity in dying than to have no dignity in begging. It is better to die than to beg. So we're fighting for peace when it would have been better if we died. It would have been better for us to even fight. That would have been better. It would have been better for us to separate and segregate. You know what I'm saying? Verse 29. The life of him that dependeth on another man's table is not to be counted for a life. See, we were begging for welfare reforms. We were begging for all this and all that. We're begging to be recognized and represented in his table, at his table. This table belongs to him. This table belongs to him. It's not our table, but we want to have a seat at his table. Look, I'm not a fan of Tyler Perry, but Tyler Perry made his own table in the entertainment industry. He don't need a Caucasian for nothing. He made his own table. You got to salute him for that. He didn't beg for it. And that's what we should have been doing. No, that's what we was doing. Martin Luther King gave away our table so we could sit at his and feel better about ourselves because his table's bigger and shinier. Let's continue. For he polluted himself with other men's meat. Man, we eating his food. We are looking bad. Women would tell you, how does your man look when he is dependent on another man? How does your man look? Well, that's how we are as a people. That's how we are as a people. But a wise man, well nurtured, will beware thereof. A wise man, nah, he'd rather die. Wise men rather die than eat at another man's table. Wise men rather die than beg another man for peace and prosperity. That's what a wise man would do. Martin Luther King wasn't a wise man. Begging is sweet in the mouth of the shameless. The shameless have no problem begging because they're too weak. They are too weak to muscle up and start depending on their people. So he'll beg his enemy. He'll beg, then get it in with his hands. Stop begging and start putting in that work so we can separate and build our own communities, build our own nation. But in his belly there shall burn a fire. Everything he's getting, it's going to hurt him. It's going to hurt him in the end. It's better to beg. It's better to die than to beg. It's better to die than to beg. And with that one in this class, remember, April 14th, we have the Passover coming up in Cocoa Beach, Florida. You know what I'm saying? Cocoa Beach, Florida. We have classes every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You know what I'm saying? And it'll be online. Don't forget to follow us on Boston No Cowards on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Boston No Cowards on YouTube because, you know what I'm saying, our enemy, the devil, our last YouTube page got shut. But follow us on Boston No Cowards on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? We got the Passover. Don't forget to pay your Passover fee. Don't forget to get it in. Book your hotels, man. It's going to be a powerful. It's going to be a powerful one. And with that, shalom.